Other peoples, don't know what day it is. I'm in Market Harborough today. We can't stop here anywhere, unfortunately. It's a very, very busy little. It's a market town, oddly enough. As it's called Market Harbour. You'd expect to be a market town, wouldn't you? Well, look on the left here. Just come up to it now. Unbelievable what that is. It was built in 1614. And it's an old grammar school. It's actually built as a grammar school. Isn't that odd? And it's built on stilts because it's originally had a butter market below it. So to build it on stilts above the butter market. How unusual. Well, you're a bit lopsided there, aren't you? 1645, obviously the Civil War in England was its highest. Keep on this bump here. The King's Men, Market Harborough, was the main headquarters for the King's Men. And it's a very small town, but it's an interesting little town. But parking here is very, very difficult. There are not many shops. It's all houses now. Well, I'm coming here years ago. Instead of going to Northampton to do shopping, I used to come here. So it was such a beautiful little town. Well, free parking on a Sunday. But now, of course, that's all changed now. There's a lot of these things. I'll come back to you in a minute. Well, the town was so busy, I had to leave it for the time being. It's a shame. Not that you see much now, not a lot of history from Market Harbour, but not to be seen anymore. In the 18th century, a lot of the buildings were mud and wood, literally wooden buildings with mud and splashed on them. And in the 18th century, all turned back into brick. Not that I remember those days, of course. But I've just come just down the road. This is Harborough Station. I think it's the first station that would have been Market Harbour to Northampton. Used to have a line, train line. I think it's 21 miles long. Closed down by Dr. Beach in the early 60s, wasn't it? He closed the main line down. It was a goods line for many years. I remember years ago crossing over the railway line with Dad. He'd often get stopped by the old bloke in the box with all them levers. He'd come down and shut the gates, shut the traffic off, go back up there, pull a few levers, train would go by, and pull a few levers again, come back down the road, and he shut the gate off to the train. Not that would stop the train going through a gate, would it? It meant that the cars would start moving again. So anyway, we were talking about Market Harbour, weren't we? It was part of the Royal Rockingham Forest. It's a hunting ground from the medieval times. Start with William the One. Obviously, Bill One. No, not really, just William. Don't know why they got the William One, because it would have been the original William anyway. That's what the grammar school. That's what I was saying about the grammar school, wasn't I? But very unusual. When you look at it, I always thought it is one of those, for the taxes, where the locals would bring the corn, wheat, whatever, to sell under those arches. But no, there's a butter market. That's very odd, isn't it? That's what I was saying about the King's men were held up. That was their big stronghold. When they nipped down to Nasby, when they found out that Oliver Cromwell was in Nasby, and it nipped down to sort him out. Because they lost out in a big way, Oliver Cromwell beat them all up, killed them all, got hold of Charlie, and took him to prisoner. I think it was like half a dozen years before he was a prisoner before they lobbed his head off. Sad way to go, really, isn't it? I don't know, that's a bit of Market Harbour. And we'll do a link to Nasby in a minute. The village of Nasby, a delightful little village in Northamptonshire, only, about 6 or 7 miles from Market Harbour. Market Harbour is only just into Leicestershire, literally by about a mile, I suppose. So the King's men heard that Oliver Cromwell were here, and they came down to sort Ollie out. Well, we all know the outcome to that, don't we? We'll go have a look now at the site. So here we are, Battle of Nasby. Saturday, the 14th of June, 1645. It was a very, very foggy morning, and at first the two armies didn't even see each other and weren't even sure where they were. Incredible. Obviously didn't have radar and that in them days, did it? But this is a monument, or obelisk, whatever you like to call it. You never know exactly where the actual battle took place. It took place over like a 3-mile distance. We were going backwards and forwards. But Ollie defeated Charles, the King's men. Ollie, of course, was the parliamentarian, which obviously Parliament, because of the King at the time, thought he was the boss of the Parliament. And then when Ollie beat him, we get what we have today, the democracy we have today, and a voting system. Whether you agree with our voting system or not, it doesn't really matter. But imagine on that cold, foggy morning, thousands and thousands of troops were lined up looking for each other. They sent out little scouts here and there, also they'd be spotted, and King Charles lost. All up there in one day, Charles lost nearly all his army. Amazing, isn't it? When you think how it would have been, and that morning, all the men crying, shouting, screaming, horses baying, or being cut down with swords and pikes and things. Now, if I open my door and get out, I can hear the A14 about a busy dual carriageway. That's all we can hear now. I keep getting cars coming by. It's not a quiet little lane, this is. Until, of course, I start videoing. There's an idiot car. An Astra van with a loud exhaust. But ruins the atmosphere, doesn't it? But I've been fascinated by the Battle of Nasby most of my life. Being local to me, I was brought just a few miles down the road. I was also told the two armies would have got the lead to make their bullets. From a pinch a bit of lead from each church they went past, which included Molten Church, which is where I'm from. So I jumped up there, picked a bit of lead off the roof, and melted it down to make the bullets. This happened for miles around there. Incredible. What a moment in time. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.